Jimbo and Bagsly, Jimbo and Bagsly, Jimbo and Bagsly Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back after this short commercial break.
Are we off air? Okay, I'll tell you that joke I had. It's about a skeleton that went into a juice bar, a vegetarian juice bar. He went up to the counter and he said, excuse me, can I order a juice and a mop? You know, mop, juice, skeleton. I'm Master Gord Nelson. If you want to get really big for your fight and you want to move up a grade, I'm from welterweight. And after I had this drink, I turned into a fucking beast. To get big fast, my weigh-in was in 1 week. I drank Nitag Gore. The ultimate drink for mind and body. Strength. And it also gives you big ass muscles. Nitag Gore. Nitag Gore, don't forget the name. Nitag Gore.
Well, that was quite an amazing commercial. That knee tag all looks quite amazing, eh?
A little bit scared to drink it. That MMA fighter looked like the Incredible Hulk. He only drank a little bit.
Speaking of Austin Gordon Nelson, I was actually able to get a personal interview with him, which we will be displaying up next for you guys. So stay tuned and get right into it. Here we are. We have here with us today, Austin Gordon Nelson.
Hey, how you doing?
Number one, why exactly did you transition from American MMA over to Australia?
Well, I've been here for about 9 years. This tournaments are really good over here at the moment. The evolution of fighting is really growing in Australia, especially in Muay Thai, which is a very big component of mixed martial arts. But I was in America basically when I first started, and that's where it all began for me. And probably it's probably good to go back in time and have a chat about that, and then that will bring me to this reason I'm in Australia at the moment. But I'm very excited. I'm having my first fight in the last 5 years. I had an accident about 5 years ago, and I needed a change. But prior to that, I was growing up in New York, and I was in the Bronx, and basically that's where my fighting began. So you probably could ask me a good question about that, and I'll tell you all the story.
Absolutely. So what was it like growing up in the Bronx?
Well, in the Bronx it was tough. Both my parents went to a vegetarian restaurant, and the one thing, you know, you get something with olives in it, you don't expect a fucking pip in it, you know. And then suddenly they both choked on it and died. And it was one of the biggest scandals in the restaurant, just down on 5th Avenue. The restaurant's been closed down because you know, it's the toughest job in the kitchen. You remember that. Picking pips. You know, you can chop all day, you only get 1 pip. So it's, you know, it's one of those disciplined jobs, and I know that because I have compassion for people who've actually swallowed pips and died. And my parents did that, so that really put me on the edge. And I was only 2 years old, so I had to start fending for myself because no one really cared about me until this kung fu master found me just sitting in my house, you know, because the babysitter left, and I basically was just there on my own. And supposedly my parents died at the same time, so I was stuck there for about 5 days. And that's when I started doing push-ups and sit-ups, because I really needed to start focusing on myself. There was no one else there to feed me. So anyway, this janitor was coming to clean the house as usual once a week. He never said nothing until this day. And then this one day he said to me, you know, I can train you, young little boy. And I was only 2, you know, I couldn't even fucking speak. But, you know, he took me in. He took me in, yeah. And he trained me the ways of the dragon.
Wow, that is quite an amazing story. And I believe a lot of our fans are going to find that quite fascinating. And I do.
It happens a lot in the Bronx, you know. Lots of people out there. A lot of kids growing up their own. You know, parents leave. You know, they go to a party and never come back. You know.
And I want to express my my condolences about what did happen to your parents.
Oh, that's fine. I got over it because by the age of 3, I had muscles. You know, and I had a mind, strong mind, and that's what brought me into you know, dedicating myself to fighting as I grew up.
So let me get to the meat of our discussion, all right? Because a lot of our fans are wondering, why And actually, in Australia, the word vegetarian is kind of like, what the hell is that? So could you just explain to us a bit about vegetarianism and how it fits in with your fighting? Does it help you, or does it make you a bit of a wussy?
Well, it's something I don't really talk about amongst the fighters because, first of all, they think meat is where they get their protein from. And for me, I'm aware I'm a person in this body, and this body's always been changing. You know, when I was 2 years old, I had this self-realization straight away, and you know, started to realize, wow, I was growing fast. Look at these muscles. You know, every day I was changing, but I was still there, even though amongst all these changes. So I realized that, you know, there must be something like a life force out there. So I realized that most things in life have a life force, and so my Kung Fu master, Tu Wang Ting Pong Bai, he actually taught me the ways of the vegetarianism, because he also talked about fighting and spirit and mind being strong, and overcoming the obstacles of life, knowing that you know, the person inside can never be cut by weapons or burnt by fire. So I was always really inspired by my Kung Fu master, and I realized that animals had this life force. So I realized then after that, well, you know, fuck that. I'm gonna eat at least something, you know, like plant food. And people in my orphanage, just, you know, they try and pick on me, and I was already too tough for that. You know, I was waxing on people all day. So, you know, they eventually started to also be vegetarian, you know, and I created a vegetarian a group called the Vegetarianos. You ever heard of it? The Vegetarian Nanarios.
Can you say that again?
Vegetarian Nanarios.
The Vegetarian Nanarios.
If you hashtag that, you'll pick that up on hashtag Vegetarian Nanarios.
Vegetarian Nanarios.
And it's actually a group from orphan kids who have never had parents come back to their house after a night out. Could be from choking from a pip, or it could be from just partying too hard and they never came back. And so we all got together and we started to really train hard. And that's where some of the greatest fighters of all time have come from. Did you know that? From the Bronx.
I was not quite aware of that.
So we're all vegetarian, but a lot of them didn't go into the UFC. You know, there's a lot of animals there, and
okay.
So animals like to hang out with animals, so they like to eat animals. You know.
Right. So let me. Sorry to cut you short. We do have a limited time slot. But just to summarize, what I'm understanding from what you're saying is that essentially you've become a vegetarian for some spiritual purposes behind it. Would that be correct?
Well, you know, it's a little taboo to talk like spiritual stuff, you know?
Right, so that's what I'm wondering, like, for our audience that's maybe not so spiritually inclined, or maybe not interested in that aspect of it, what are the fundamental differences with your vegetarian diet, and how does that relate to your actual fighting? Like, for example, what would be the differences between a fighter, same kilo size of you, on a vegetarian diet versus a meat diet? Is it going to affect your speed? Is it going to affect your agility? That type of thing.
I think it affects my mind. That's the most important thing when I'm fighting. You know, being on a vegetarian diet keeps me calm. It gives me, I have this strength, inner power, my chi, always burning inside me, ready to fire. But I noticed with a lot of the UFC fighters what do eat a lot of meat, they were hungry, looking for blood, and they'd always run at a puff. And I was always there at the other end with endurance. That's what vegetarianism is as well. Gives you endurance for the mind. It doesn't give you this agitation in the mind as much. So there's things you can do to help the mind be less agitated. And there's also, you can do some meditation if you ever wanted to get a little further into it. And but those things are really important, you know. Good diet, being healthy with your diet, being vegetarian, keeps your mind nice and calm. You also have a nice respect for all life forms out there. That's the thing, and you become very introspective, and that helped me be really have big humility when I was fighting. You know, I always looked within myself to improve. I never blamed anyone, especially my Kung Fu master, who was always there for me. He has died about 5 years ago. That was at the time when I had an accident and I broke my leg. He was in the car. And we both were in the car, and he was teaching me how to drive for the first time. Never driven in my life. And he's like, I don't want to drive, master. I don't want to drive. And he's like, oh no, you should drive. Come on, you should drive. Go on. You need to learn. You are already 34 years old. You need to learn. And I tried, you know, and I fucking killed it. So I've never driven again. I just walk the earth now. That's right. So when I hitched a ride onto a ferry, and I decided to move to Australia. And ever since, I just train and walk. So I've got to get to Melbourne. It's probably about 2 weeks away to fight. So I'm going to have to start walking from Queensland as soon as possible, because I refuse to get in a car. And I have something real phobia with wheels and movement and wheels and that. It's like giving me a phobia. A little bit of a phobia I get with the car. Is not as extreme as the cuddles I get in jiu-jitsu. Oh my god, that just is one of the biggest phobias of my life. But you know, having to do jiu-jitsu, I just canceled that. As you can see, Conor McGregor doesn't need to get to the ground. You know, that really twists your mind if you want to do jiu-jitsu. You know, it's unbelievable.
All right. So let me just ask you another question. If there was one thing that you could impart to everyone that's watching this show, one specific thing you'd like to share with the world, what would it be?
Don't do jiu-jitsu because they cuddle too much, way too much. It'll affect you, you know? They'd rather be coming to train and rather cuddle you than be with their girls at home. It's like, hey darling, where you going? It's like, I'm going to training again. You already went to training. Oh no, I'm gonna go see Ricardo. You know Ricardo? It's like, it gets a little bit crazy in Brazil, I reckon. 50-50, I reckon, over there. Too much cuddles. So no cuddles, okay? If I see you cuddling, I'm going to give you these ones, okay? I'll give you these double time, all right? That's what I like. I don't want any cuddles.
All right, thank you so much, Austin Gore Nelson. And stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. After this short break, we are going to do a special fighter's meditation with Austin Gore Nelson. He's going to show us some amazing meditation techniques you can take with the road, and you can take it home with you, and you can spread it all over the place. Thank you again for joining us, Jimbo and Bagsly.
From the small town Netag, I found this amazing minerals of water which made me turn into a beast overnight. Netag Gore, liquid ore from under the ground. Get it now, Netag Gore.
Wow, that was completely incredible. I had no idea there were so many uses for that Netag ore.
I think it's just a whole range of things you can do with it. You know, you can get big, and also many healthy alternatives, you know, different things you could do for the skin, for the body, for the mind.
All right, and that was quite amazing, eh?
I'm telling you, but this is more amazing. Do you ever believe in aliens? Did you ever believe that you could see one? Sometimes you've probably seen something in the sky and you think it's a little unusual. Well, check this out.
UFO.
UFO. I'm looking at myself. Looking pretty good.
Mike, check it out. Look right over there. What the fuck is that?
Oh my god. I think it's a UFO.
Oh my fucking god. That's incredible.
Have you ever seen anything like it? Extraterrestrial. Extra special. Extra mayo.
That was quite a shocker. I remember when we were out there and we spotted that mother, and that was fucking crazy.
It was unbelievable. I don't think I've slept. I think I see it going past all the time now, but I think I'm in hallucination.
Alright, thanks for joining us again. We have a special technique for you today. Austin Gore Nelson is here, and he's joining us. He is going to share with us his special technique for calming the mind before a fight. This is a fighter's meditation. So go ahead, Austin, give us your insight on what to do.
Oh, okay. You want to join in? We'll just sit quietly.
I'll join.
Just sit quietly.
All right.
You know?
Yep.
The eyes closed. You put let's place our two largest fingers and thumbs together, and then just place them inside like a ring. Let's try that. Let's just sit nicely. So like people don't even need to know, you know? You're sitting on a chair, sitting at the lounge, you know, you can be standing. You know, you just start just being aware of your breathing, basically. Just nice and calm, eyes are closed. You start to feel how your body's feeling. the nice breathing in and out of the body, you start to begin to realize that you're not this body. You place a picture on your mind and you realize that you're just witnessing the mind, all its thoughts. So when you get all that anxiety, just let it pass like a river. Just let it pass like a river. That's how I like to do it. I like to sit on a rock, place a picture on my mind, and just let all those flowing thoughts, don't let any of them attack me. Just like the fighter, you know. I need to just be silently aware of its movements, just passing by. And then I'll draw the nice mantra, Go, Ra, Anga. It's a transcendental sound, and it's also very purifying in the mind and heart. It helps me be able to be aware that no one can hurt me in the ring as well. I feel strong. I realize that I can never be dominated by anyone else. So I just start to breathe in and out, and then I draw on the outward breath, the sound. Let's try it together.
Can you say it one more time? Is it Go-Ra-Onga?
It's Go, Ra, Anga.
Go-Ra-Onga.
Goranga.
Go-Ra-Onga.
Goranga. Say it fast. Just like an arm. It's like Sort of the same with the Goranga.
Alright. Yeah.
Goranga. Goranga.
Alright.
Let's give me a Goranga.
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 How you feeling?
Feeling alright?
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty good. And that helps me calm into the fight, you know? Goranga. Nice and loud.
All right, thank you so much, Austin. I did a bit of a soprano voice there. I used to be in choir boy back in the school days.
You know, it doesn't really matter with your transcendental sound meditation. As long as you sing it from your heart, it doesn't matter.
Oh, you mean someone with a bad voice could join in? Or?
Anybody can do it, because it's the song for the soul.
Well, that's really nice to hear. So, don't be afraid, ladies and gentlemen, at home. If you're not a singer, just jump on in, just croak it right out, and you'll still have that peaceful effect, and you'll be ready to take them down in the ring. Is that right, Austin?
That's right.
All right, mate. Thanks again for joining us. Take care, boys.